This is presentation number 6 for the education coordinator. And basically, we're just keeping it real simple at the chapter level. We're going to do a quick review of systematic visibility 1 and 2. And then we're really just going to talk about selecting a bragging buddy and the goals and agenda for the first bragging buddy meeting. So the delivery goes something like this. Over the past 2 weeks, we've looked at 2 very specific techniques to create referrals for each other. Can anyone remember what they are? And now we'll let the members, speak up. After they've had their chance, we say, okay, everyone please open your Power Team Roadmap workbook to page 12. Here we see the 2 ways to easily create referrals for each other. Level 1 is transactional. This is where we use the business card organizer to give a compelling testimonial to our clients and customers. We even have a short script to follow. Does everybody see that? So, how many of you are using your business card organizer like this? Show of hands. Is it working? Are you creating referrals? So here, just ask for a show of hands, no discussion. Keep things moving. So you'll continue and say, also on page 12, you see level 2, situational. This is where you recognize that someone that you're talking to is experiencing one of the 6 key situations, and you ask a trigger question to uncover a referral. Does everyone remember the 6 key situations that create a lot of referrals for a wide variety of business categories? And then you can quickly review the list on page 12. Ask the group another question. Does everyone remember the trigger questions that you can use? And then you can refer to those trigger questions also on page 12. And then you'll challenge the group, okay? I strongly recommend that you get people involved by asking questions that are based on accountability. How many of you are asking trigger questions like this? Is it working? Are you creating referrals? And again, just a show of hands, no discussion. And then you'll continue by saying, even earlier in our Power Team training, we worked with the 10 key questions to help us clearly describe our products and services, as well as our targeted prospects. We did this so we can train the rest of our Power Team and BNI group to create referrals for us, right? We also did the I'm Relevant exercise to help you determine if you have products or services that are relevant to consumers who are experiencing one of these 6 key situations. Does everybody remember this stuff? Okay, great. Now, on page 12, please put a star next to the key situation that creates the best referrals for you. Got it? Okay. Now turn to page 14. The time has come for you to pair up with a bragging buddy if you haven't already done so. Here on page 14, you can see the guidelines on selecting a bragging buddy, as well as the goals and agenda for your first meeting. So as you can see, we select a bragging buddy that shares the same best key situation as you. In other words, if your best key situation is getting married, your bragging buddy should also be able to do business with people who are getting married. Makes sense? The idea is that you and your bragging buddy are going to begin creating referrals for each other in a systematic, proactive way by making a mutual commitment and meeting together for a series of one-to-ones. Today's focus is on your first meeting with your new bragging buddy. I'd like a volunteer to please read the goals for meeting number 1, and somebody does that. And you say, great, now does everyone see the agenda for your first meeting? This first meeting brings together all the elements we've been working with so far, so let's quickly review the agenda. And then you quickly review the agenda, you actually just read it off the page, and then you ask the closing questions. So how many of you have already selected a bragging buddy? Show of hands. How many have completed the first bragging buddy meeting? Show of hands. And then you say, okay, good. Well, if you haven't gotten to this point on your own, I strongly recommend that you watch webinar 6 in the DVD set and get into action. The only way you're going to create more referrals is by implementing the system. So finally, let me see a show of hands. How many of you can see how following the system will create referrals? And one more time, show of hands, how many of you feel that you can do this? Awesome. Okay, well, get busy. And with that, I turn the meeting back to our chapter president. Okay, so that was a fast and furious rendition of Education Coordinator presentation number 6.